Let's meet someone who is redefining the future of sales. I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, we chat with Abbie White, the founder and CEO of Sales Redefined. With more than 17 years of sales leadership experience and over 500 million in sales generated, featured in Forbes and a LinkedIn top voice, she brings an energetic and practical approach to helping organisations thrive in the digital and AI era. Welcome, Abbie.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, we met a long time ago.
I know.
And I can't believe where we are now and that AI is a part of this. And years ago, you trained my entire team at BeFit Food on sales. You wrote all of our scripts. You did workshops with us. You set us up with some online sales programs, and it was incredible. But this space has evolved rapidly.
Huge change. I would argue the change we've had in sales over the past 2 years is probably more than we've had in a decade. And I think it's kind of the perfect storm of three factors of AI. You know, most top performing sales teams and businesses are now having to address how they use AI internally, but also how are they being found using AI. I had someone for the first time the other day when I said, "Hey, how'd you come across us?" Said, "I put in all of our requirements into ChatGPT and you came up." The second is increasing customer demands and expectations are at a record all-time high. 71% of people expect a real-time response now, and we're having to navigate how do you do that without burning out. And the third is the generational change. Majority of buyers, increasing consumers, is millennials moving through to Gen Zs, obviously depending on who you're targeting. But you've got digital natives who are used to online shopping and self-serving and instant answers and responses. So all of those factors, I mean, in sales is just dramatically transforming.
And what I think so fascinating with what you do is because you've come from the era of no digital, like you started sales many years ago. So how many decades now?
So rude. I'm like 21. What do you mean? Yeah, I did. Yeah. I have been in sales pretty much 20 years.
Yeah.
And for me, when I started, phone was still a solid strategy. Yeah. And actually, I still believe now it's everything and some things come full circle. So for example, post, I just had someone do a mail out campaign and target me by sending me a bottle of wine. Great strategy.
Yeah.
And it stood out because no one does it anymore. But yeah, absolutely. It has completely evolved. And we're having to look at all the different channels, not just what it used to be of whether it was just face-to-face, phone, email. There's so many more channels now.
And so you born and bred in the UK, and then what brought you to Australia initially? What was that starting point for you?
Yeah, so look, I was with IBM and I was extremely fortunate that as a global company, they had a global relocation program and they had certain markets that they wanted to double down and invest in. And Australia was one of them. And they were looking for a national sales manager to run a $100 million business unit and to really lean in and drive the performance of that team. And I saw Australia, that was about it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I am in, and put my hand up. So I came on a 2-year secondment with IBM. And 12 years later, I'm still here.
Oh, incredible. And you've got a family and that's all history now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so navigating sales, so moving from IBM, but starting your own company in a country where you've only just found your feet, what did that look like?
It was kind of, in a way, the perfect scenario that emerged. The part of the business that I was in with IBM got sold off as part of an acquisition. I went with it for a couple months and it kind of was like, this is the perfect opportunity to go and do something else.
Yeah.
I'd started climbing the corporate ladder and had also reached that point of going, I'm thinking about something else. And at the same time, what is now my former business partner, he had a fantastic business in New Zealand and said, look, if you're thinking of going out and doing something, why don't we become partners? You join me and do the Australian entity together as a partnership. But I would at least be able to join a business that was road tested, successful, had a roadmap, a business partner who knew what they were doing. So to me, that was kind of startup university. And I did that with him for 2 years. And I'm so grateful that I did, because initially I wanted to go, let's get business cards with my name printed on it. And as you know, like the super important things that generate no revenue.
Yes, that's right.
And he was brilliant, because he was startup university for me to guide me of like, let's worry about getting some clients and established in Australia, and not so much the business cards, Abbie.
And so that first couple of years, so how long were you in the partnership for?
2 years.
Yes. And then that decision to go your own way?
I think for me, I use it, like I said, it was a great opportunity, and he had the best business that has now been acquired and, you know, super, super successful. But I'd kind of reached that point that I wanted to go my own way. And I think I just had that itch that I had to scratch of starting it on my own and doing my own style and my own flavor and my own thing. And so I think I just had to scratch that itch. I also knew at that point that we were trying for a baby, and I had in my head that it was going to be easier to kind of build more of an online presence, online business. I was thinking about, do I go back to the UK because I got family support there? None of those things eventuated. It wasn't online, it wasn't in the UK, but at the time I felt like at least then I could kind of build something around myself. Not that that happened, but I tried.
You tried, yes. And so Sales Redefined, from where it was when you first started to where it is now, what are the different services you've added on? And perhaps are there services you've dropped and ones that have expanded? What does it look like?
Yeah, it has been literally the total transformation. So we've been going for 8 years now. And when we started, I was doing a lot of consultancy and enablement. And then we had so much demand for people who were like, can you just do this for us? So we started doing lead generation services. Our sort of sweet spot was really bringing together sales and marketing and being the marriage counselor for the two.
I remember smarketing. I remember saying that.
HubSpot coined it, and I was so annoyed. I thought I'd come up with it, and I thought I was super clever, but I'm not. HubSpot had. So that became a real opportunity, because everyone was like, can you just do it for us? And it became the majority of our business. It became 97% of our business.
Wow.
It became a 7-figure business. It was sort of becoming a beast, but it was almost turning in by accident to becoming, if you had to put it in a box, whilst I would have never called it that, it was the business model of a marketing agency and very services based. And whilst I loved the work that we did, I loved the projects, I loved getting my hands dirty and delivering the most epic ROIs. We had some campaigns with like 2,000% ROIs, and I loved that. It also was very challenging as a new mum with a heavily services-based business. The more clients you get, the more people you need. Obviously a lower profit model than others that were available to us. And always on, the business model was very challenging because we always had, you know, campaign deadlines. You go live. I was working till midnight most nights. And so that's when I started really looking at, and I split the business into 3 P&Ls behind the scenes. Like no one knew, but I was running it as 3 P&Ls across sort of the enablement side, our sort of what we were calling marketing, like campaign side, and then a new membership that we started building, which was the eventual online digital business that I'd set out to do all those years ago. And over 6 months ran the business like that. And it became really obvious that whilst the majority of the revenue and clients were sitting on that marketing lead generation side, the revenue, the profit, the scalability, the growth, and all the factors I'd originally set out to achieve, you know, around blending business life in some capacity, was sitting on the other side of the fence. So myself and a group, and including my ex-business partner, we were up a mountain talking, and I needed the headspace. So we went to Switzerland with no phone signal.
Oh, so amazing. Wow.
All my big life decisions had been up a mountain with no phone signal.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my friend about it, who is just really experienced. And I was talking to him about what was happening. And he said, Abbie, you've got casino mindset. You have put so much on the table that you feel like now you can't walk away. But actually, when do you take your cards off the table? And that I can literally visualize him saying that to me. And I kind of made a decision in that moment up the mountain of, I can stay and go, right, I can section this off and I can sell it. I can then have the beautiful story of we scaled and sold a business and it's, you know, the perfect Instagram post. Or but it's going to take me probably to get it into a position I could sell and get it ready for sale. I knew it would take me at least 2 years. And I knew I kind of didn't really have it in me. And I didn't want to, in terms of the price tag I would pay.
Yeah, the opportunity lost on the other side.
And not just that, for me, also my son was getting to a stage where he really needed me. And I felt the change at home that I needed to be more accessible and available for him and have more flexibility. So I made the hard decision not to sort of build it off to sell off and to close down that side. And then lean into the other side. So now today we're doing majority keynote speaking, enablement and membership, but actually it's completely flipped in that the profitability from that and the scalability from that, the enjoyment factor, the flexibility factor is all there, but it's probably one of the hardest decisions, as you know,
to let the money go, just to
let it go.
Yes. Yeah. And that guaranteed revenue, the pipeline, all of that, you know there's business there, but work-life balance, what you enjoy and what's the better long-term decision. Well done.
And a lot of our clients came across because interestingly, the services we were offering, they were complementary. So people actually, who we were working with on the lead generation side then went, oh, well, actually, we can work with you in these other capacities. So ironically, some of our client base from that perspective carried over.
Yeah. And so now tell me what a day in the life looks like with your son, with your family, with the business. What does a day of Abbie look like?
Oh my gosh. I think one of the challenges is no day looks the same. Now, I love that because I get bored easily. I've got a short attention span. And so I love the fact today I'm here with you. Yesterday I was on stage speaking. Yesterday morning I was on a breakfast panel. Yeah. Tomorrow I'm at home having a get stuff done day and I'm going to be in my joggers with no hair and makeup.
Yes.
So every day is different. All is driving towards those two avenues and still helping our clients to go ultimately, how can they grow their business? How can they improve the performance of their sales team? But I don't have the consistency in my day of, like I remember speaking to you once and you were saying, oh, my husband does certain days of the week and I do certain days of the week. We have none of that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. And what do you think is next? Knowing what you know with AI, where your business is growing, the scalability of it, what's next for you?
I think AI is definitely an opportunity that all of us are having to lean into.
Yes.
For sure. And so I've looked at that one from a perspective of the savings that we've had. And we have had really significant savings through leaning into AI and keeping a team small and that side of things and the efficiencies there. But also looking at an opportunity for growth. I feel like, I'd always felt, I wish I was born in the in business in the .com boom and had that opportunity. And I think this is our generation's opportunity for that. So I think for me, it's really scaling. I love our membership called RevUp. It really helps our clients to get some epic outcomes in terms of how they deliver growth, how they get their sales team performing, how they address go-to-market. And so I just want to scale and grow that because all of our members love it, enjoy it. I love it and enjoy it. I can do it from anywhere in the world. I've just been in Europe for 6 weeks and I did it from Europe.
So good.
I was up at 3 a.m. and doing it from Europe.
But I did it. Europe, yeah.
I did it.
In summer.
Yeah. And I think it just gives me a little bit more of an ability to drive my own destiny of like, when do I need to be around for Jaden because it's school holidays versus when am I going to double down and still go for it full throttle? And speaking's really strong as well. So I think for me, it's just still continuing to lean into what is that future of sales, continue growing, but in a more high leverage, high profit, enjoyable way that also gives me the flex that I need from a personal life perspective.
Amazing. And how do you manage your own health and fitness? What do you do there? What are your routines or go-tos?
So for me, I've taken so much inspiration from you. I see you on Instagram going, women need to have creatine. And then I'm like ordering and buying it and having it in my coffee. Or when you talked about Reformer Pilates, I'm now like, right, off to Reformer Pilates.
Ah, so good.
So you've been a huge influence on me for that. So thank you. So exercise has always been my go-to from a perspective of if I've had a bad day or, you're wound up, it's my release.
So good, isn't it? Amazing.
It is so good. But I feel like at the moment I'm at a point of resetting habits after 6 weeks in Europe eating too much pizza, but also resetting habits, and you can probably speak to this one a bit better, around some of the I feel it's new knowledge that's coming out around how women should be investing more, having more strength training, protein. And you've probably known all this for years, but I feel like for us who are not professionals, I feel like that's only just starting to really become really a dominant message now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very true, because I think for so many years, things that the guidelines have been so basic, so people just hear the basic things. And even though all of that science and practice has existed, it hasn't become mainstream because people didn't want change, and there was always fears around weight training and resistance training that people would bulk up or they wouldn't be able to manage their weight and only cardio worked, and all the myths around having to keep your heart rate at a certain level to burn fat. And there's science around all of that, but it's just taken completely out of context. And now the messages that are out there are very much longevity based and health first based. And I think the bigger perspective is really on wellness now, that if you want to live your best life every day, it's not about how you look as much as it is how you feel, what your long-term health is like, and that follow-on effect that we're all looking for, that balance. And resistance training is absolutely the number one thing I think at the moment. So, yeah, and the science evolves too. So
yeah, and I think a couple things have helped me there. One is, and I say this genuinely, like following someone like yourself, I think really helps, because what I find is you could read 10 different blogs, 10 different experts, 10 different podcasts who all say complete fasting is bad for you, fasting is good for you, intermittent fasting is this, or whatever it might be. And I am the person that gets really overwhelmed by that. So I've kind of gone, who are my couple trusted sources? So like, for example, you'll share knowledge and advice on your Instagram as a good example. And I'll go, okay, cool. I'm going to go do that infrared sauna. Thank you for that.
So good.
The second thing I think I've had to really do is adjust to micro habits.
Yes.
I struggled for a long time with comparison to pre-baby days where I would go for an hour's run and then a breakfast. Whereas now my version of that was I dropped my son at school this morning. His school is 1 kilometer from our house. I didn't have the capacity to get to the gym. So I ran he was on his bike and I ran 1 kilometer there,
so good.
1 kilometer back. And I struggled with that for ages of going, oh, well, it's only 2K. It's not even worth it. Whereas now I'm like, okay, it's the micro thing.
It is. That's amazing. I'm so glad you said that. In an earlier interview, we spoke with Jack Delosa and about making those little habits, daily things, even if it is the 10-minute commitment. 7 days in a row of 10 minutes is 70 minutes. You add that up over a year, you've got transformation. Whereas not doing it because it doesn't seem like enough is the complete reversal of that, I guess. And we likened it to, a lot of people are overwhelmed with AI. And I said that for me, that challenge is 10 minutes of AI a day. The exercise comes easy. But for other people, it's the 10 minutes of exercise or 10 minutes of mindfulness or going to bed without devices and a little bit earlier and all those sorts of things. But it's everything counts. So something is always better than nothing. And I know my shortest workouts, even if it's one set of things, it's 8 minutes, but I'll still do it. And very worst case scenario, it's a kilometre and you're doing 2 kilometres, but I do a kilometre just to get out of my head for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think I've had to really reset on that and also habit stack. So I love my coffee. So after I sort of heard you talking about protein and creatine and all those things, I've sort of put it right next to my coffee and done the habit stacking.
So good, so good. I do exactly the same, the proteins with the coffee and tea, because you're going there, so you're not going to skip it.
Yeah. I think the thing that for me has been the most valuable though of everything that I've done is learning to put my own oxygen mask on first. And whilst that I think is a really hard thing as a working mum, and I heard a Brené Brown concept that her and her husband will say, right, where are you out of 10? And he might say, I'm a 5. And she might say, I'm a 2. And it's not a competition, but it's like, okay, well, this has to add up to 10. And if I'm a 2 and you're a 5, then let's get a babysitter. Let's actually just tonight, we're just going to try and get, we're going to order something vaguely healthy, but we're going to order out.
Yeah.
Or that's what we're going to do.
Let's lift as a team. I love that.
And I had to go through that process of being able to say to my other half, like, I got 1 out of 10. I've got nothing. And I've even had points where I take myself off to like a health retreat for a weekend. And I used to feel guilty for that. Whereas then I've now learned actually to be at my best at work or as a mum, I can't feel guilty about that. And so I think actually of all the health things that I've done, learning to actually put your own oxygen and mask on genuinely and do the balance out of 10 and ask for the help has probably been the most impact.
That's right. Take away the guilt from the choices of looking after yourself. So
incredible.
Thank you so much, Abbie. This is the Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.